Alhamdulillah. Today, I want to say, it was my last fight.
When it's time, it's time. I feel it. I trust it. I'm confident in it. And yeah, that's it for me.
One thing we've learned in MMA is that fighters come and go. The average career span is from 6 to 10 years, and getting to know them while they are on the rise is very important. So don't be that UFC fan who will understand the importance of a fighter only when he leaves the gloves in the octagon.
I had 3 title fights. Like I said, it's been a great journey, and this is it.
That'll be it for me. You know, I've had a long run. It's been great.
But don't worry, because other prospects are coming to replace them. What's up, guys? It's Clash of MMA, and today's video will cover 5 fighters you should watch out for. So get on our train while it's in momentum. Hit the subscribe button, and let's meet the up-and-coming killers of the UFC. Not many people can boast of beating Alex Pereira, but the one who can just win a UFC contract. Russia continues to produce its killers, and this one, although he is fresh on the MMA scene, has a lot of experience in combat. This 33-year-old fighter is a double glory champion with 5 title defenses who stepped from the kickboxing ring into the MMA cage, eager for a trilogy with Poatan.
Alex Pereira fought Artem Vakhitov twice in glory kickboxing. Last night, Artem Vakhitov fought in the Dana White Contender Series.
Can anyone else smell a similar scenario to Pereira versus Adesanya? Well, his name is Artem Vakhitov, and the man just signed a UFC contract. However, he will have to sweat a lot to get to Alex. But if their future fight is as good and competitive as those in Glory, we're ready to give him his time. The guy has an incredible chin, and we can't wait to see how he fares against Pereira's left hook in the small gloves.
This was a long journey to get here. I think we showed a great fight, and Alex saw it. Alex was there. I had no idea that he was going to be here, but as I was walking out, I saw that he was sitting in the audience, and to be honest, it kind of lit the fire a little bit, you know, kind of motivated me even more.
Well, competitiveness is not something he lacks, nor is confidence. Multiple world and European Muay Thai champion, only became a professional MMA fighter in June 2023. He's currently sitting on a 3-1 score with TKO finishes.
Оторвалось. О, еще один туда же. Все. Похоже, все.
This one defeat was an unfortunate hand injury in the first round, so he could not continue the fight. Make no mistake, this man is dangerous, with vicious kicks and nasty combos, and no, he is not an easy man to take down. Even more, in Dana White's words, Artem's wrestling is on point and fascinating.
Alex said you absolutely positively deserve a shot in the UFC. So thank you, Alex Pereira, and get over here, Artem. But he said, this is what I think. I think he's talented enough, and I think he deserves to be here. He's had, obviously, a ton of fights in his career.
Vakhitov only needed 1 round and a barrage of punches to present himself to the UFC. The best thing about this story is that White didn't want to offer him a contract right away. But it was Pereira who managed to persuade the director. And as we know, Dana is a sucker for rivalry stories, and Alex is one amazing human being.
Islam, 11-1, 26 years old. You are fun to watch fight. You are fun, and I cannot wait to see you fight again. Come on over here, you're in.
Islam Dulatov is a fighter from the German UFD gym in Dusseldorf. His fighting mentality was built by refugee life. In 2007, he traveled to Germany with his family from Chechnya in search of a better life.
You know, I like all fighters who came from nothing and made it to the UFC, you know, or to other big organizations. I love this kind of things because I had the same situation in my life. You know, I came from nothing. I'm from Chechnya, from nothing to something, and that's why I love this kind of stories.
This part-time model, full-time MMA fighter looks like a bigger version of Movsar Evloev, but has more potential to be a fan favorite than his compatriot. If you're wondering why, it's because of his tendency to actually finish the fight. He has impressively fast hands for a welterweight and decent takedown defense. But in case the fight does go to the ground, his submission skills will do the job.
To be honest, I love to be a fighter, and that's what I do.
Even in his amateur days, where he had 3 wins and 1 loss, Dulatov showed submission and knockout finishes. What is common to his amateur and professional career is that, in both cases, he lost the first fight and then went on a winning rampage. Since going pro in 2019, Dulatov has 11 wins with 7 knockouts and 4 submissions. Even more impressive is that only one of his defeated opponents made it to the second round, but still got knocked out. Nicknamed the Ripper, he is the second-ranked welterweight in Germany. He excelled in the NFC, FMC, Sparta FC, Brave, Octagon, and Legacy promotions. And in 2024, he finally got his chance in the UFC.
We came there with 0 money in the pockets, and my brothers and me, we always tried to make something, to make it there where we are now, So now alhamdulillah, we have a good life.
Not many fighters can take Dana White out of his seat, but a brutal first-round elbow at Contender Series earned a standing ovation. His more experienced opponent from Brazil, Vanilo Antunes, folded like a chair. And Dulatov got the chance of a lifetime and got the contract. We have yet to see him in the heat of the promotion and what he is like when the fight drags on. It looks like we will have another Islam from Russia who has the potential to wreak havoc, but this one will do so in the division above.
I promise you, Dana White and everybody who is in the company, bring UFC to Germany again, and I make the event full.
Torrez Finney is a fighter who showed that the persistence survive. Regardless of his victories in the DWCS, he received criticism from Dana White. This is the 25-year-old's 3rd time participating in the series, as he was rejected the previous 2 times.
You get absolutely decimated in the UFC with the performance that you put on tonight. Your performance last year was better than this performance.
But Finney took it personally and showed that third luck was the charm. Things changed dramatically after 2 winning, but poor performances. Finney returned as a late replacement and made it clear that he would not make it difficult for White to offer him a contract. When he was released from the DWCS for the 2nd time, Finney went on the Combat Night promotion to score a viral knockout.
Oh my God!
That brought him back for the 3rd time. He came to prove a point and to show that the UFC is where he belongs. Torres finished his opponent in the 1st round by TKO and thus earned his contract.
What you saw tonight is what you're going to see in the UFC.
This kid is just getting started because he turned pro in 2022. Defeat is not something he's familiar with, and he will knock you out. 2 years and 10 wins, 7 KOs, 1 submission, and the decision that Dana White didn't want to see. Torres has shown that he has thick skin and confidence and will return for a UFC contract one way or another. Let's hope he will be as active in the UFC as he has been so far.
I want to get in the cage because I don't want to have these long layoffs. I don't like the 7-8 months layoffs. If anything, I like what I just did.
MMA fans and promotions especially love undefeated fighters who don't give up no matter what. And Finney is just like that. The guy looks like he stepped out of a cartoon. He's quite short for the middleweight division, but boy can wrestle hard and punch even harder. Watching him throw and beat his opponents, the nickname Punisher suits him perfectly. This humble and likable kid comes from Agagi Combative's gym. And as their best fighter, he has come to put them on the map.
You brought a different energy tonight than you did the last 2 fights. That's how you do it. Get over here. Welcome to the UFC.
After the DWCS prospects, the bantamweight fighter Marcus McGee found a place on our list. His story is inspiring, his skill unquestionable, and his name has yet to be heard. The boy comes from a difficult and violent environment. He grew up with his brothers, sister, and single mother, while his father spent time in prison for murder. Poverty, gangs, drugs, family fights, sleeping on the streets, every adversity you can think of, Marcus has been through it. Things changed when a family friend took him in. For the first time, Marcus saw what a normal life looked like and turned his focus to more positive things. But the violence couldn't be kicked out of him no matter what. Marcus decided to try his hand at MMA, and years later, here he is, on the world's biggest stage.
I needed to do something, and fighting was something that I had done I had been in so many street fights, all these altercations. I think I'm good enough to at least start the next step and try to do this.
However, the Maniac is not a fresh face in the UFC like his predecessors today, but still a guy you should watch out for. He entered the promotion in 2023 and finished 3 opponents, 2 top knockouts and 1 submission. In his 4-year career, McGee has 9 wins, 1 loss, and no decisions in the books. That's right, Marcus is the man who ends fights. He did it 8 times, knocking out the competition. McGee is tough as they come. Pretty heavy-handed for a 5'8" bantamweight, and watching him mix shots will leave you mesmerized.
I know that my performances were speaking for themselves. I was finishing fights and I was doing it emphatically, and that's what they like to see.
Do yourself a favor and check out his career and life story. And be sure to see him at UFC 309 in November when he will face Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan is ranked 13th, and Marcus has a chance to finally break into the top 15 best fighters in the world. With all this kind man went through, he deserves it. It's not often that we see an Ecuadorian perform in the UFC, but it looks like Chito Vera will have a worthy successor, and his name is Michael Morales. The 25-year-old warrior is on one of the biggest winning streaks today.
I know that the work that we've been putting in is going to pay off, not just for myself, for Ecuador, for Mexico, but for a Latin American fighter as well. I think a lot of them have the potential to get to this point, and we're going to continue to work, and you're going to see more of us coming forward.
Although young, this prospect has 17 perfect fights with 13 finishes. He comes from a fighting family whose parents are judo black belts. In his early years, he became a national champion in wrestling and Muay Thai, which today makes him a full package in the UFC. Morales either dominates the fight or leaves his opponent broken. As a young professional, he honed his craft through 8 different promotions, where he finished 10 out of 11 opponents, which is impressive.
But I have faced very good fighters as well. I train in a house full of very, very crazy people.
He earned his UFC contract in 2021 at dwcs. 3 years and 5 wins later, the kid is in the top 15. Morales is relentless from the beginning to the end of the fight, and every punch he throws is a significant strike. Good striking, good wrestling, and the will to become champion are evident in every fight. Michael is a big and strong welterweight, dangerous on the front and back foot, and can always surprise fans and opponents with a knockout. He's a great UFC investment and deserves more promotion. What more could a man want other than a young and undefeated fighter? If you didn't know who Michael Morales is, now you know, and soon the entire welterweight division will know.